And this is the last lap of the race. And you will see them come across shortly.
Yeah, you see them going into that tight 180 right now.
Checker flag is out, and they will be coming through the last turn and come down the main straight.
Here comes Anthony Franco and the 24 of Mike Michaud from Quebec, Canada, taking second.
I don't know why it's not displaying there, but
Here comes our third place rider, the number 9, Dimitri Godard.
And that is a Canadian rider.
All right, so coming up next, we have our Nas Futures. These are going to be the future of our sport, the younger generation coming around on their sighting lap now. And they don't look like they're quite equal competition, but that's going to be because one of our riders here had a bike failure and had to end up riding a loaner bike. Luckily, there was somebody around willing to loan out their bike and let him get on track. All right, we can see we've got Dad there holding him up because he can't quite reach the ground. We've got these guys gridded up, checking to make sure that they're ready to go. The lights are on. Oh, little head start. It's all right. We're going to let him go.
Yeah. Yeah, a little unfair But that's all right. These are just the futures. These are the kids. So we're gonna make it as fun as we can for them on this gloomy day.
Yeah, as a kid, we all loved running around splashing in puddles, and these kids get to do it on their motorcycles, and not much beats that as a kid. It puts a huge smile on your face, especially with conditions like these. There's plenty of puddles to splash around in, but it's not actively raining at the moment, so these kids are out there just having fun.
In the booth, we got a local racer, Mike Thurber. He is not able to race this event because he hurt his knee and is recovering from knee surgery. What do you think about this event?
I'm jealous. I wish I could be in it.
Oh, aren't we all? Mike was nice enough to loan his bike out to a competitor today named Josh Jackson from Palmer, Alaska. He flew in a couple days ago with his wife, and they're having a great time. Josh has been off the motorcycle for 7 years. He moved to Alaska and turned into a bushman, and we were able to talk him into coming back and racing with us. There we go. The leader just went down the front straight, and here we come. Here's a KTM 65.
Yeah, so your leader, Eli Ingstrom, he is with that Cascadia Supermoto group, so he's coming all of the way out of the Pacific Northwest, so he's a long ways from home. It's a good thing that they found a bike that he could ride to make sure to get some track time.
Absolutely. Coming this far, it's real disheartening to have a malfunction with your motorcycle and not have a replacement. So we made an exception for this kid, so that way he could at least get some seat time and get a ride.
Yeah, it's called Nas Futures, and that's because they're the future of the sport. So it's something that's a bummer today, but this will help develop this kid and turn him into a better rider in the future, because he is getting to experience riding a faster bike than normal. Also probably a little bit better brakes and better handling than some of these mini bikes that these kids race. So who knows, he might be begging Dad all the way home that it's time for a bigger bike.
Probably so.
And here comes your second place rider, IJ Cavazos. He's coming from Colorado. I talked to him a little bit earlier this morning. He was excited to get out there on track and get some seat time in. And these kids, this was a full Supermoto class earlier, unfortunately, with us having to eliminate the dirt section due to all the rain. These kids are also riding asphalt only. And here down the front straightaway comes Eli again. Oh, and it looks like we have an unfortunate, possibly mechanical failure for the number 633 of IJ. I see him coming into the entrance of the first turn. You can hardly see him there in the very distance of the image there, but he's pushing his bike back into the pits. Dad's headed down there to help him out. So it looks like the number 28, I don't believe 28's on his bike, but 28's the number he registered with. Eli Ingstrom still out there with the commanding lead, just cruising her on in.
And these guys only ran 6 laps. We shortened the lap lap count for these kiddos because they're not running as fast as lap times. So to keep the program on schedule as best we can, we shorten their time up.
Yeah, and with them not being on quite fair equipment, you could say, they're not really going to be battling with each other, so they're kind of spread out, just riding all by themselves. So 6 laps in rainy conditions by yourself, that can be plenty. And
Yeah, it's probably more than you want, honestly.
yeah, and here comes 28 of Eli Ingstrom taking the checkered flag.
Yeah, whenever you are just trying to survive the race, 6 laps can be quite a bit. And I think that wraps this race up.
So coming up next, we're going to have our National Amateur Supermoto class. Right now we've got Eli Ingstrom on a cool-down lap. All right, we've got our amateur class headed out for their sight lap, headed to the grid. So we see these guys making their way around through the infield right now. I say guys, we've actually got a lady out there in this one.
Yeah, that's Liz Penny.
Number 217 on a Honda.
I think we might have two 217s. We have a 217 and a 217X.
Yeah, I think.
And Liz Penny is on the 217X bike, the Honda with the white number plate backing, and then just in front of her is number 217
of Jordan Jones.
And they actually came, believe it or not, in the same truck coming down here. Those two riders are from the Northwest.
For one position. So in the first position, we're going to have the number 71 of Nathan Bayens. In number 2, we've got the 404 of Donnie Torwey. Then the number 3 grid position is the number 69 of Hayden Burge. I know we saw Hayden have a crash earlier, so I'm not quite sure if he's going to make it to the grid on this one.
Yeah, it looks like he might not be out there this time.
But in the number 4 spot, we've got the 87 of David Geerton. Number 5, we've got the 292 of Johnny Bang, another one that looks like he might not have made the grid this time. Then we go to the 217 of Jordan Jones, the 252 of Christopher Anderson, 217X of Liz Penny, and the number 22 of Jan Boursier. And so we've got our racers on the grid here. Looks like Fred's getting the light button. The lights are on, the revs are up, and we're off. A good jump from the number 71 and also the 217 of Jones on the outside. It looks like it's going to be the 71 and the 404 with the early first and second place. All right, so in screen there's the number 71. Then we've got a pretty good battle. A few different riders there battling for the third place position. Looks like right now it's going to be the number 22 of Jan Boursier. A good battle here between the 217 and the 87. Headed down into turn 1. It looks like the 87 is going to take the advantage.
It looks like the rain has eased up quite a bit now, Traven.
Yeah, looking out the booth here, I mean, the clouds haven't broke by any means. It's still overcast, but I don't want to say it again, but they're not looking as ominous as they were earlier. The last time I said that, we got a rainstorm about 10 minutes afterwards, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and we're here at Oklahoma Motorsports Complex for the National Supermoto Shootout. And this is the first year of doing this, and this has hope to be a yearly thing where it's just going to keep going. It's where these guys race a regional qualifier round somewhere in the United States, and we all meet up here at Oklahoma Motorsports Complex for the final showdown. Riders started shuffling in a few days ago, and they got a couple of days of really nice dry practice, and even in the great dirt that they have here. But the weather just did not cooperate for us, and really threw a challenge to everybody. And we have actually had to cut out the dirt section due to safety concerns. We shortened it, and we had a really large hole develop coming back onto the asphalt, and it was just too dangerous to send these guys through that lap after lap.
Yeah, we saw one rider have a pretty bad crash there. So just for the safety of all these riders, we want to make sure everybody goes home safe and in one piece.
Absolutely. It'd be something to be hurt this far from home and have to drive back or even spend time in the hospital this far from loved ones. It would not be a good situation. So safety is of great concern with us. Even though it is rain, it is slick and treacherous out there. But these guys all ride as much in their means as possible to stay safe.
These are the best riders we have in the country. If you think about it, Kenny, we are at the North American Supermoto Shootout. There was qualifiers all throughout the country for these people to get enough points to qualify to come here to the shootout and be able to see what kind of place they could claim to take back home with them.
Absolutely, and these, again, on the track are all amateur riders. They do this just for fun. They do this without any reward other than bragging rights.
Yeah, there's no big purse money for this class. They get a cool trophy and the bragging rights. So it looks like the number 71 of Nathan Bayens has a pretty comfortable lead out there. He's looked really smooth every time we've seen him on track with very few mistakes, just smooth, calm, and consistent, checking those laps off and making good progress doing so. But it looks like the number 22 of Jan Borsier is in second, and the 404 of Donnie Torwey in third.
Yeah, absolutely. Smart riding pays off today for sure. Being consistent and not getting too squirrely and killing your time and conditioning really comes into play today. So as smooth as a rider can be is probably going to benefit him the most.
You can see the green light on your screen there. That's part of this cool caution or safety system that we have here from our friends at Track Systems North America. So it's not always easy to put a corner worker in every single turn, so we were fortunate enough to have some of these lights to put in different positions throughout the track, and we can actually control those from up here in the tower, whether, you know, the racing's going good and we can leave it green, or if there's a hazard in the section, we can change those lights to yellow or red or whatever we need to do. So that Track Systems North America is a really great system.
Yeah, it's coming in handy today because we've had bikes scattered across the track a couple times today at the same time, and it is coming handy because we are actually short-manned on flaggers today, and these lights have come in very handy.
Yeah, and it looks like the crossed flags were just out for these riders. Comes your second place rider, number 22. And third place, the 404. I believe the sticker on his front number plate said Donster, so he is riding like quite the Donster out there in these wet conditions.
Yeah, that's the great thing about these amateur riders, man. They really have a good character about them, and each one of them has their own type of flair. And like this guy right here, he almost looks like a Supermoto version of Ronnie Mack.
Yeah, he definitely looks like most of the people around Oklahoma here. He doesn't look out of place at all.
Yeah, he came to fit in, that's for sure. And these guys are a blast to watch on the track, and they're really fun to hang out with in the pits also. They're really nice to have around. There's Liz Penny on the screen right there. She is taking it a little easy today. The rain has got her a little timid. She usually really flies around this track. And she came in all the way in from Washington, if I'm thinking right. They drove a school bus in, as a matter of fact.
There goes the 217X of Liz Penny.
Oh.
Looks like we have a rider down in the second turn. That's the other 217 of Jordan Jones. But Jordan is back on track. Looks like just kind of gathering himself. There in the corner of your screen, you can see the 22 of Jan Borsier and the 404, the Donster, coming through. It looks like Donnie's really closing up that gap and getting closer to Jan, so we'll see what happens in these last few laps, see if Donnie can make the pass here. Oh, Donnie up the inside. Is he able to make it stick? It looks like he's going to make it happen.
That's number 404 on the gray bike.
Yeah, Donnie Torwey taking over second place, but it doesn't look like Jan Borsier wants to let him have it easy. He's making a move back up the inside.
We can't see it on the screen here, but there was another pass made.
And he made it stick, so we'll see how this plays out. It looks like the white flag is out, so this is going to be a last lap battle. Yeah, there in the white helmet on the 71. Nathan Bayens taking the win in your amateur Moto 1. And it looks like the 22 of Jan Borsier has put just a little bit of a gap on the 404 of Donnie Torwey.
Yeah, it looks like there's just not quite enough in the tank here for him, but that was a great race.
Man, such a great race, and that battle that they had all the way down to the end, he really didn't give up. He was still right there on his back tire. There's the number 252 of Chris Anderson, bringing home 5th place.
Got us a nice wheelie there across the line. That was good to see. Well, that was good. We had all our riders stay upright, it looked like, for the most part. No one got hurt. Today has been hard on riders and hard on equipment. We actually had 2 or 3 riders that didn't show up for that race because of such.
Yeah, we've seen a couple bikes go sliding into the tire walls, coming back with broken back fenders or back fenders sticking straight up in the air. But luckily with the conditions like this, with the wet pavement, you seem to just kind of slide across the top of it. Just kind of hope you don't bounce off anything in the process. So coming up next, we're going to have our Open Pro Super Moto Moto 1. Quite a few heavy hitters from all over the country here at Oklahoma Motorsports Complex for the North American Supermoto Shootout. And again, so there were multiple qualifiers throughout the nation. We had a couple held by our friends at SMEC, our friends at Colorado Supermoto, Cascadia Supermoto up in the Pacific Northwest, and then also Supermoto Quebec, bringing people from all over North America, quite literally, here to Oklahoma for this great event.
All right, Traven, we got the guys coming around right now for grid.
Yeah, we've got our sight lap out right now. So I've got the grid sheet here in front of me. It looks like pole position is going to be the number 17 of Jake LaForge on the TM. Second position is going to be the 64 of Shane Narbonne on the Honda. Third will be the 109 of Sean Butterman on a KTM 450. Fourth place will be the 144 of Andrew Millier on a Yamaha. Fifth is the 33 of Dawson Schaefer. Sixth is the 838 of Timmy V. Seventh is the 151 of J.C. Bernier. Eighth is the 227. Our Ironman is back out there. In ninth is the 324 of Ryan Samp. In 10th is the number 80, Big Bad Brady. 11th place is number 88, Jacob Randall. 12th is the 424 of Josh Jackson, joining us all the way from Alaska. In 13th place is the 403 of Kevin Kartlieroff. And in 14th is the 55 coming from Colorado, Coy Baker on the KTM. All right, so we've got everybody on the grid here. Fred coming over to grab the button. Here we go. This is going to be Moto 1 of our Open Pro class, and they're off. Oh, looks like 64, Shane Narbonne with a big problem off the start. Looks like he stalled it.
He has really got his work cut out for him now. He was one of the picks and the favorites to maybe win this thing.
Yeah, 17 of Jake LaForge is just going to try to sprint away from the 109 of Sean Butterman. Jake with a big save through turn 2. Man, these guys are really just going for it. Looks like Shane's already made a few early passes.
Already in 4th place.
No, it looks like that's Bad Brady in 4th place on number 80.
We got Timmy V in 3rd, Sean Butterman in 2nd, and Jake LaForge in 1st.
Let's see, it looks like the 64, Shane Narbonne's made his way around Dawson Schaefer. And here they come around on the first lap, the number 17 of Jake LaForge with the lead from Sean Butterman and Timmy V. It looks like Narbonne's behind the 227 and the 151. Trying to make a pass. He makes one around the outside going into turn 1. You can really see the aggression with these guys coming out of the turns. You can see them spinning up the back tire and getting a little bit loose. They're just trying to get away from everybody else.
Here we got Jake LaForge coming around the finish line here, still in the lead with Sean Butterman in suit. Sean Butterman, he was up here in the booth just a second ago talking to us. He's the rider that just got back from Italy for Team USA.
See these guys coming into the first turn. You can see the 64 there right behind the number 80. Oh, and it looks like the number 227 is down in the last turn, but he is back on track. The only change I really see in the running order here, looks like Shane Narbonne did make it away around Brady.
Now he's got to get around Andrew Millier if he wants to get a fourth position here to work on Timmy V and Andrew Millier is our real fast asphalt rider, and since there is no dirt section today, he really has an advantage on some of these guys where he typically doesn't. Here in the middle of your screen, towards the right of your screen, you see Shane trying to make a move.
Yeah, he's looking at every opportunity. Anytime that Andrew just leaves the door cracked, Shane's looking to bust through it.
And Jake LaForge is just creeping out on Sean Butterman little by little. And then Timmy V in third here.
Jake's looking good out front. We just saw that one slide through the second turn early in the race from him, but other than that, he hasn't made many mistakes. He's just been clicking away his laps.
Yeah, these riders haven't had to hit that turn 2 at speed yet, since normally that's the exit of the dirt section, so it may have snuck up on them a little bit slicker there than normal.
And it looks like Shane has made the pass on Andrew Millier, so now he's got his sights set on the 838 of Timmy V for a third place position.
Yeah, and Timmy V is a crowd favorite, honestly. He is at races all over the country and has been for many years now. He's at 40 years old, and he's still competing like this.
Yeah, I think anybody that's traveled around and raced some national supermoto at any point's come across Timmy and probably has a couple entertaining Timmy V stories. He's always there for a good time.
Yeah, in fact, he didn't even practice in the dry yesterday or the day before. He came straight out swinging in the rain today, and he is looking good.
I think a couple of these riders have ridden this track before, but not very many of them, and it's been a long time since they have. I think Sean Butterman and I believe Timmy came out.
In 2012.
Yeah, it's been.
And they raced an event here, same conditions.
Yeah, it's been over 10 years, and we still have the same weather. It turns out this time of year, it seems to be raining and muddy. So we're doing what we can. We're still trying to bring Supermoto back to what it once was here in the U.S. And it looks like the halfway flags just came out for your leader, Jake LaForge. And it looks like the 64 of Shane Narbonne is right on the back tire of Timmy V. And
very well.
You wonder if maybe he's going to be able to make a sneak pass. Does Timmy even know he's there yet?
He does now if he didn't before. Shane made that pass stick, and there's been an exchange for third place now. And Shane was our guy that had almost a dead start. He did not get good at all off the whole shot and came into turn 1 in last place, I believe.
That just shows you why Shane was one of the favorites for this race. I think Shane's one of the favorites for just about every race that he shows up for, but definitely one of the favorites for this event. But like you said, Kenny, he just got off to a bad start and had his work cut out for him.
You know, the starts are very important because more often than not, it is very hard to pass these guys. They are such professionals. They've been racing their entire lives.
Yeah, at this level, we're really splitting hairs and we're racing for tenths of a second. You know, it's not like some of the motocross stuff where people are putting big second-and-a-half gaps you know, from a flying lap. If you get a flying lap and you get a quarter of a second on somebody, that's really impressive out here.
Yes, it is. And a lot of times in this, you can't let somebody get out of your sights, because if so, it is very hard to reel them in.
Yeah, and you wonder if maybe Timmy V's losing a little bit of the fire in him, or if Andrew Millier is seeing the opportunity open up after Shane Narbonne made the pass on Timmy, because Andrew's really starting to reel up on him as well.
And here in screen, we've been watching Brady Towson, and he's a local of South Dakota, Rapid City, South Dakota, and he is also a semi-veteran of this sport. He's been racing it for several years, and he is a little bit younger than these other guys at 24 years old, but he is holding his own, and he is the future of this sport, believe it or not.
Yeah, I've raced with Brady quite a few times. Brady's always really fun to race with. He's a great competitor, really clean battles all the time. And it's awesome to see him out here holding his own with these guys. And it looks like Shane Narbonne just laid down the fastest lap of the day, at 55.802.
That's incredible. That is really nice to see. He is on the charge, and he is really looking to make some headway on Sean Butterman.
One thing that's impressive to me, Kenny, is they're not far off of the asphalt-only times in the drive from when we used to have, you know, local Oklahoma Supermoto races here. It's still wet conditions out there, and they're just a couple seconds off of the pace.
That is really incredible considering the conditions, and that these guys are new to this track. I believe Jake LaForge and Shane Narbonne have never raced this track before.
And it looks like Sean Butterman might see Shane kind of mounting a charge, because it looks like Sean's starting to reel back up on the 17 of Jake LaForge just a little bit.
Yeah, and you'll see this strategy out of guys sometimes where they will actually ride a little slower at first, and then they'll save their energy to try to mount, you know, a run on the next guy. Sean Butterman did a 55.7.
And so just after we were saying it looks like Sean Butterman's picked up the pace a little bit, he goes and ups the best lap of the day with a 55.7. So it looks like conditions might be starting to turn around now at the end of the day. Must be a dry line developing, because these guys are really starting to speed up the pace.
Yeah, these guys might want to watch it. Their tires might be getting a bit warm, and it could change things later on in the race here for us.
Yeah, you just wonder if all the work Shane Narbonne had to put in early in this moto, you wonder if he's going to see a little bit more fade out of his tires than maybe Jake LaForge does with his early run to just a consistent pace.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes you really do have to watch the tires, especially whenever the conditions are like this, when the track is starting to dry out with these rain tires.
Yeah, and we're also starting to get into a little bit of lap traffic here, which is always interesting. As the leader, it's a little frustrating to be the first one through, because they don't always know that you're coming. But then sometimes if you know that guy, they might drop in behind you and ride a really wide bike for the competition.
Yeah, and that is a good point, Traven. Sometimes it is harder for the next guy to get around, or sometimes it's easier for the guy, say, in second to get around the lappers, because the lappers aren't always expecting first place to come through so quickly, and then they'll be expecting second and so on to come through, so they let the riders by a little easier.
So on screen here, you see the 17 of Jake LaForge just making his way around on the last lap. He's got a decently comfortable lead. He's got a couple seconds on the 109 of Sean Butterman here.
And then just a couple seconds behind Sean Butterman is Shane Narbonne, who has really put the ride in today. Oh, and we have a rider down in turn 2.
Yeah, that's the 227, I believe. I think that might be our Iron Man. And the checkered flag is out. There you see the third place of Shane Narbonne coming across the checkered.
Rev bombing the bike right there. I think he's probably pretty happy with his ride. I know I would be. That was an incredible ride. He probably had the most fun ride of the race, passing all those riders.
Yeah,
was
you
great.
wonder if maybe he's just a little bit frustrated at himself for the way that moto started off. You know that he probably could have been up there battling for the lead had he not had to start from the back and make his way through the pack. There goes the number 80 of Bad Brady Towson out of South Dakota. So these riders are making their way around now on the cool down lap. There went the 227 R Ironman. Just a couple more holes in the jersey, a little more ventilation for this cool down lap. Yeah, and you hear Shane Narbonne coming into the pits there. Sounds like he might be just a little frustrated.
I would be too after a start like that. You have a hard time whenever you know it's your mistake that may have made it a little harder on yourself.